Okay, dudes and dudettes, I've got a quick little message for y'all, which I thought I would spit out really quickly before I head into work because I was sitting here drinking a cup of Joe, a nice little brew, getting the mind all clicking and ticking and such. And it's a subject I wanted to touch on for quite a while, and that is the notion on to use caffeine as a tool and not a crutch. Not to overuse it, in a sense. Don't be over-reliant on it. Now, you might be saying, Mac, what the heck are you talking about? You're sitting here drinking it right now. What's the deal? Yeah! But the point is I use it because I love coffee. It's great. I think it's the elixir of the gods. It's fantastic. Does a whole bunch of great things for you. I won't get into that now. Maybe I'll do that later. But the fact of the matter is that I see this so often with people of all stripes, and this doesn't just apply to lifting, this just applies to life in general, bros and broettes. It's people being far too over-reliant on coffee. And to tell you the truth, I am kind of a relative noob when it comes to coffee. I only started really getting into drinking it maybe like 5 to 6 or so, give or take, years ago. Especially around when I started getting back into lifting. I used coffee as my pre-workout, and that's basically what I've done the whole time. I frankly think that pre-workouts as a whole, for the most part, I think they're quite overrated and certainly overpriced, because basically I don't care about all the other chemical additives and all that kind of stuff. I just want the caffeine, basically. That's all I need. So that's basically all I use, and it's super cheap. I like the taste. I drink it black because that's the way God intended, and it works for me. And here's the deal. Here's the story. I was planning on making this short, but screw it. I'll go a bit longer. I'm already over anyway. What the hell? I used to... Well, let's backtrack a sec. What I was getting at before was that I see this happen with people all over. Like I said, this doesn't just relate to lifting. People that, you know, they basically can't function in the in their day-to-day lives, basically, without having caffeine, you know, at their beck and call at all the time. You know, like the age-old saying, don't talk to me until I have my coffee and everything. And I can relate to that, at least in a certain sense. I'm not a morning person. You know, I'm very quiet when I get up in the morning, and I'm very kind of moody and stuff like that. But it's not because of caffeine withdrawals and stuff. But I see this all the time, that people, and, you know, I'm a Canadian, so we have a big coffee culture, and back in Canada, you know, with Tim Hortons runs and all that kind of stuff. So all that is, you know, I've been growing up around a coffee culture all the time when I was a kid, but I didn't, like I said, I didn't get into drinking coffee really. I was always a tea dude, and I still love tea. Yeah, up until recently. Now I drink both, but mainly like coffee. I do like a little bit throughout the day, but my primary source of what I use is for my pre-workout. I just drink coffee. But kind of jumping back and forth here, I gotta reorient myself. But yeah, I see people all the time that they basically, like I said, they just can't function without caffeine. And when I started drinking coffee, that was one of the main detractors for me for not getting into it, was because I did not want to be over-reliant on it. I didn't want to be a zombie, you know, without the stimulation of caffeine. And that was always my goal, especially when I got into it and stuff too, was that I didn't want to become over-reliant on it. You know, I only wanted to enjoy it, but not be beholden to it, essentially. And again, and now this comes into the lifting perspective. I see this so often with people, and this is all stripes, beginners, more seasoned, experienced lifters, etc. and stuff like that. I think particularly more so, you know, the average kind of gym shark, gym goer, and beginner-ish types. The people are fundamentally far too over-reliant on caffeine in regards to that the idea that they need to be overloaded on the stuff to get anything done, essentially, to have a good workout. And trust me, you know, we've all been a part of this chat, you know, myself included. I've had a period of time where I felt where I just need to have like more and more caffeine and some of that, more and more coffee. I kid you not, I used to drink a pot of coffee a day, like every day, especially like with workouts. But before my workouts, that was my regimen, a full pot of coffee before my workout. But then what started to happen was I realized I started feeling awful. I would feel like really good in the beginning of the workouts, but then as I would get into it, like I would start feeling like nauseous and just like kind of a bit like the shakes and I started not feeling good. So I thought, like, yeah, this is probably not conducive to one, a healthy lifestyle, but also, you know, a good workout. You know, if you're feeling awful and about to like Ralph in the middle of your workouts, that's not very good. But the fundamental point that I'm trying to get at is that you can obviously use this stuff to assist and catalyze your productivity, because coffee is great just for, in general, you know, wanting to get stuff done. It really kind of sparks you up and gets you on the go, you know, for so many ways, both mentally and physically. And so it's a great, and also like pre-workouts and all that stuff too, because it's got caffeine in it, because that's what you need the most. You don't need all this beta-alanine and taurine and citrulline and all this other overpriced stuff. You just need the caffeine, bro. That's what you need. But I digress. But you don't want to get to the point where, you know, you're thinking like, oh God, I need to have this, or otherwise, you know, the workout is a no-go. I can't do anything. Or, you know, you keep getting in the point where, you know, like, oh, I gotta up the dose. You know, this vicious cycle that is very so common with regular people in life, but also a lot in working out and lifting and stuff like that. So what I've been doing for quite a while now is just I've been regulating and limiting my intake, so to speak, of coffee, in particular with workouts and stuff like that. And now, I kid you not, for most of the time, for what I do when I'm working out, I'm only doing like a quarter pot. That's it. That's very little. It's like maybe like 1.5 of these, something like that. It's very little. And for anything, and all it is, it's just like a little spark, you know. It gives you like that little kind of cherry on top, that little bit of extra kick, you know, to kind of help enhance your mental and physical acuity and performance and stuff like that. But that's the kind of the approach and the mindset that I've been trying to get at with not just workouts, but in life, that that's not the be all end all of it. It's just part of it, you know? And to the point where I do think that I could go without the caffeine and still have good sessions, because for me, I think what fires me up more than anything, more than this, is the tunes that I play and the warming up, doing the dynamic movements and doing the warm-up sets and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's like a Pavlovian sort of reaction to it. It starts getting my mind and my body in the mode to lifting, and, you know, and getting it into that space of that. All right, it's time to go, buddy. It's time to crush some weights, you know. And I think that's what my advice would be in the short of it, to try and strive for. You can use this stuff. You can use caffeine, and if you want to use pre-workouts, then fine, you know. Live and let live. But don't become over-reliant and have that be the be-all, end-all factor that you impose upon yourself to have a conducive and productive session, so to speak. Like I said before, let it caffeine be a tool, but don't let it be a crutch. Something to think about.